A little more than a year ago, Sigma set out to simplify and redefine their lens lineup. Today, I'm going to show you an incredibly popular lens that's also a world's first. Hi, I'm Larry Becker. When photographers start getting into the craft of photography, one of the tools that they use to get a particular look is their lens choice. And wide aperture lenses give photographers very specific artistic control. Wide apertures let in more light, allowing for lower ISO settings and faster shutter speeds. And depending on the subject, they can give photographers a tool for capturing the shallowest depth of field. If you're into lenses, you know that a lens with an aperture that can go as wide as f1.8 is considered a wide aperture lens, and it's often called fast glass. That's because an aperture that wide lets in lots of light and allows for faster shutter speeds. And you also know that if I'm referring to an f1.8 lens, it must be a prime lens. In other words, a lens with a fixed, non-zooming focal length, like a 50mm lens. An f1.8 zoom is unheard of. Until now. You're looking at the world's first constant f1.8 zoom lens, the Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 DC HSM. The one I tested was a Nikon mount, but it's available for Canon, Sony, Pentax, and Sigma as well. It's officially an 18 to 35mm zoom, but since it's specifically designed for APS-C size sensors, and because the one I tested has a Nikon mount, the 1.5x APS-C crop factor means it has a 27mm to 52.5mm equivalent field of view. Its aperture range stops down to a minimum of f16, so if you need to stop down more than that for long exposures, you'll need an ND filter or a different lens. Finally, the lens has what Sigma calls super multi-layered coating to minimize lens flare and ghosting, and the construction includes 4 aspherical elements and 5 SLD glass elements. That's a lot of tech speak, but these features add up to great image capture quality. In September of 2012, when Sigma announced their new approach to lens manufacturing, they re-evaluated their entire product line with a renewed emphasis on quality, and they've even reissued several lenses. Additionally, they've helped consumers to know which new lenses and reissued lenses have been released since the big change. All the newly released lenses are called Global Vision lenses, and each model falls into one of 3 categories: art, sports, or contemporary. You can read all about the 3 categories on the Sigma website, but this 18 to 35mm f1.8 is an art lens, and it seems that Sigma art lenses generally have the widest apertures. A quick note here about all of Sigma's Global Vision lenses. They're all compatible with Sigma's optional USB lens dock and free lens adjustment software. You can use the dock and free software to customize focus speed and other lens performance characteristics. Also, if there are future firmware updates available for your lens, you'll install those using the dock. What you can adjust will vary from lens to lens, and I didn't do any dock adjustments to this lens. Made in Japan, this is a great quality lens. It's not lightweight or plasticky feeling at all. The travel on the ample zoom and focus rings is first rate, and the build quality feels like one of those top-of-the-line Zeiss lenses. The zoom and focus are both internal, so that you won't see the lens changing length or rotating as you zoom or focus. Like Sigma's Global Vision Art category suggests, you can capture some amazingly artistic images with this lens. The shallow depth of field control I'm used to getting on full-frame cameras was there on an APS-C size sensor. The bokeh, or bokeh depending on how you pronounce it, is smooth and even. The minimum focus distance is rated at 11 inches, and I found I was able to shoot as close as 4.5 inches from the front of my lens and get tack-sharp detail and incredibly shallow depth of field. The 11-inch rating refers to the distance from the sensor, and that means things can be much closer to the front of the lens. I don't do lab-style tests for my reviews, but I try to come up with some real-world usage scenarios. So for geometric distortion tests, I shoot architecture, and my images were geometrically accurate throughout the entire zoom range. I didn't see any distortion near the edges of my images, even on the wide end of the zoom. The Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 captured focus somewhat quickly with no hunting, and I had good luck with focus accuracy even in low light. Now, I was using a Nikon D7100, so it is Nikon's most advanced focus system in an APS-C equipped DSLR. But I was impressed by both the accurate focus performance in low light and the absolute silence of the hypersonic focus motor. Whenever I'm testing gear, I like to shoot camera raw files so that I can see what's going on before any software corrections take place. I noticed a little bit of corner vignetting when I was shooting at 18mm at f1.8, but it's easily correctable with camera raw post-processing. I also noticed a little chromatic aberration at f1.8 with high contrast areas on the 35mm end of the zoom range. But again, each of these was relatively minor and easily corrected during camera raw processing. When it comes to color accuracy and image detail throughout the frame, I can honestly say I was pleasantly surprised. It's like having a collection of prime lenses from 27mm to 52.5mm and everything in between. I'm just not used to this kind of wide aperture quality and performance from a zoom lens. When I bought my first full-frame camera, it was because I just couldn't get the images I wanted out of an APS-C size sensor. But with lens options like this Sigma Art 18 to 35mm f1.8 DC HSM lens, I think I could have pushed my crop sensor camera a lot further. If you're an artistic photographer and you need something in this focal length for your APS-C DSLR, especially if you've been looking at fast prime lenses, this zoom lens is more versatile than a prime, and both image capture and build quality are first class. For B&H and Kelby One, I'm Larry Becker. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.
Scott Kelby here, and welcome to this quick tour of our online training. We have hundreds of online classes for you, covering everything from lighting to landscape photography. From portrait photography to sports, we have classes on wedding, automotive photography, shooting, food, fashion, travel, you name it. The most incredible part of this is the price. You get all of this for just $199 a year, or you can pay monthly for just $24.95. 24-hour a day, 7-day a week access from anywhere in the world. I invite you to join with us today and start learning right now.